This is not a normal cruiser. 2026 Suzuki M109R shocked everyone. The 2026 Suzuki Boulevard M109R does not arrive quietly, politely, or with the intention of fitting in. It crashes into the modern motorcycle landscape like a blunt instrument, unapologetic and heavy with intent, reminding everyone that there was a time when cruisers were built to intimidate rather than accommodate. In a world where motorcycles are increasingly filtered through algorithms, riding modes, electronic safeties, and sanitized performance curves, the M109R feels almost offensive in how direct it is. This is not a bike designed to please everyone, and Suzuki knows it. This is a machine built for riders who still believe motorcycles should feel dangerous enough to command respect, powerful enough to scare you just a little, and mechanical enough that you never forget what's happening beneath you. From the first moment you see it, the 2026 Boulevard M109R communicates dominance. Its proportions feel exaggerated on purpose, as if Suzuki decided that subtlety had no place here. The front end looks massive and aggressive, the fuel tank bulges with muscle, and the rear tire is so wide it borders on absurd. This bike doesn't look like it was styled to win design awards or please focus groups. It looks like it was built to make a statement before the engine ever turns over. Park it anywhere, and it immediately becomes the center of gravity. Other motorcycles fade into the background. Cars slow down, pedestrians stare, and riders start asking questions they already know the answers to. The stance of the M109R is low, stretched, and confrontational. It sits on the pavement like it owns the road beneath it, projecting an energy that feels more like a drag bike than a cruiser. This is not elegance. This is aggression expressed through metal, rubber, and displacement. Suzuki hasn't softened the lines or modernized the attitude to chase trends. Instead, the 2026 version feels like a declaration that muscle cruisers are not dead, no matter how many manufacturers abandon the concept in favor of safer, more comfortable alternatives. When the engine fires, the illusion of civility disappears completely. The M109R doesn't idle politely. It pulses, it vibrates. It announces itself with a deep, chest-thumping rhythm that feels more industrial than refined. This is not a sound engineered to be quiet or neighbor-friendly. It's a reminder that this motorcycle exists because combustion engines are still allowed to express themselves. The vibration isn't annoying, it's reassuring. It tells you the machine is alive, that something substantial is happening every time the pistons move. Twist of the throttle, and the M109R reacts instantly, without hesitation, without smoothing, without apology. The power delivery feels primitive, in the best possible way. Torque arrives early and violently, shoving the bike forward with a force that feels almost excessive. This is not a motorcycle you casually roll on. It demands intention. The engine doesn't build speed gradually, it lunges, pulling hard enough to rearrange your sense of momentum. Every gear feels like a weapon. Every acceleration reminds you that this bike was never meant to be subtle. What separates the Boulevard M109R from other cruisers is how honest its power feels. There's no attempt to disguise the weight, the displacement, or the physics at play. You feel everything. The engine pulses through the frame. The rear tire digs into the pavement, and the bike surges forward like it's being physically dragged by torque rather than horsepower. This is muscle in its purest form. It doesn't beg to be revved, it dares you to hold on. Despite its aggressive nature, the 2026 M109R feels shockingly stable. Suzuki didn't just throw power at a frame and hope riders would figure it out. The chassis feels solid, planted, and composed, especially when accelerating hard in a straight line. The bike tracks true, resisting instability even when the throttle is wide open. That massive rear tire isn't just for show. It provides traction that feels unshakable, giving riders the confidence to unleash the engine without fear of immediate chaos. On highways, the M109R becomes an effortless monster. Passing power is instantaneous. Traffic becomes irrelevant. Cruising at high speeds feels almost lazy, as if the engine is barely working. This is where the bike feels most at home, devouring open road with minimal effort and maximum presence. Long stretches of pavement disappear quickly, not because the bike is frantic, but because it's calm in its dominance. The engine loafs, the chassis settles, and the ride becomes hypnotic. The riding position reinforces this sense of control. You don't sit on the M109R, you sit in it. The low seat height locks you into the bike, creating a feeling of unity between rider and machine. Forward controls stretch your legs into an aggressive stance, reminding you that this is not a touring couch or a commuter compromise. This is a posture designed for authority, for commanding the road rather than navigating it politely. Comfort on the Boulevard M109R is honest and intentional. Suzuki never pretended this bike was built for cross-country touring or luxury cruising. Instead, the comfort is focused on control and engagement. The seat supports you firmly, keeping you planted during hard acceleration and long highway runs. The suspension is tuned to handle the bike's weight and power, rather than isolate you from the road. You feel bumps, imperfections, and surface changes, but that feedback becomes part of the experience rather than a flaw. Technology on the 2026 M109R remains refreshingly restrained. This is not a motorcycle overloaded with screens, menus, and digital distractions. Suzuki understands that the appeal of this bike lies in its mechanical nature. Any technology present exists to support reliability and safety, not to redefine the riding experience. There are no endless riding modes to scroll through, no complex interfaces pulling your attention away from the road. The M109R trusts the rider to ride. This simplicity feels almost rebellious in 2026. While other manufacturers race to outdo each other with connectivity and automation, Suzuki stands firm, offering a motorcycle that prioritizes feel over features. This isn't nostalgia for the sake of nostalgia. It's a deliberate choice to preserve a type of riding experience that's becoming increasingly rare. The M109R doesn't want to be smarter than you. It wants to be stronger. The reactions this bike provokes are immediate and intense. Some riders see it as outdated, excessive, or impractical. Others see it as one of the last true muscle cruisers still breathing. What nobody does is ignore it. The M109R sparks debate everywhere it goes. Online forums erupt with arguments about relevance, safety, and evolution. At bike nights, crowds gather around it, pointing at the rear tire, asking about torque figures, debating whether anything else feels quite the same. What makes the Boulevard M109R so polarizing is precisely what makes it special. It refuses to compromise its identity. Suzuki hasn't softened the bike to chase broader appeal. They haven't tried to turn it into a luxury tourer or a tech showcase. They've preserved the core of what made the M109R legendary: massive displacement, brutal torque, unmistakable styling, and an experience that feels physical rather than digital. Late-night rides on the M109R feel almost cinematic. With traffic gone and the road open, the bike's presence becomes overwhelming in the best way. The engine pulses beneath you, the headlight cuts through the darkness, and every throttle input feels deliberate and meaningful. This is not a motorcycle you ride absent-mindedly. It demands attention. It rewards focus. It reminds you that riding can still feel raw, intense, and deeply personal. The weight of the bike, often criticized on paper, becomes an asset in motion. It adds stability, authority, and a sense of permanence. This is not a flickable machine designed for tight twisties or urban agility. It's a sledgehammer, built for straight-line power and commanding presence. Riders who understand this don't complain about the weight, they embrace it. In a market crowded with increasingly refined cruisers, the M109R stands apart by refusing refinement where it doesn't matter. It doesn't isolate the rider from vibration. It doesn't smooth over the engine's character. It doesn't pretend to be something it isn't. This honesty is exactly why the bike still has a cult following in 2026. The Boulevard M109R is not about efficiency, fuel economy, or practicality. It's about sensation. It's about feeling the engine respond instantly to your right hand. It's about knowing that when you twist the throttle, something significant is going to happen. It's about presence, sound, and the physicality of riding. Suzuki's decision to keep the M109R alive in 2026 feels almost defiant. It's a statement that there's still room in the motorcycle world for machines that prioritize emotion over optimization. While others chase balance and refinement, the M109R doubles down on excess, and for a certain type of rider, that excess isn't a flaw, it's the entire point. This motorcycle doesn't ask you to justify it. It doesn't care if it makes sense on paper. It exists for riders who want something unapologetic, something bold, something that still feels a little dangerous. The M109R doesn't whisper its intentions. It shouts them. In the end, the 2026 Suzuki Boulevard M109R isn't trying to be the future of cruising. It's preserving a philosophy that refuses to die. It stands as a reminder that motorcycles don't have to be perfect, efficient, or universally appealing to be unforgettable. Sometimes, they just need to be powerful, loud, and honest.